Hello, Internet. It's me again. I made a mistake and decided to not record yesterday, even it was yesterday. So I will be mixing today and yesterday because yesterday was basically nothing. Um, my name is Hudson, and welcome back, I guess, to my Japanese experience. I am a sophomore at Eau Claire, University of Wisconsin, and I am studying in Japan for this semester as a exchange student, and this is my second entry as my little side project to keep track of everything that I've done. Um, so yesterday, which was Saturday for me, uh, I woke up from extreme jet lag pretty late, and I kind of just stayed in my room for a while before I went downstairs to the lobby after a lot of other students had come down, and um, I showed up from the bus from the airport. I had gotten breakfast previously, and I had gotten dinner previously. Nothing happened between that. I was just really in my room, and during that time, I went downstairs to get a drink from a vending machine, and then I kind of got roped into having a good time. There was a whole bunch of people there. I got to talk to a lot of RAs. I got to meet a lot of people. But that was kind of the event of my night. Today, very, very different story. One of the RAs that I met last night, I don't know if I should name names. I probably should ask permission to do that. But invited me with one of the other RAs and her friend to go and explore Kyoto. And oh my gosh, was Kyoto amazing. We got there around maybe 20 after 10 this morning. As of right now, it is just barely still Sunday for me. I'm on my bed, and I look like a soggy dog because I feel like it. I've been on my feet for quite a while. But we were on we woke up. Well, I woke up pretty early. I didn't get much sleep, but I got breakfast from a new little mart that I discovered called Family Mart. It's going the opposite direction of the previous marts that I've discovered, so that was convenient. I ate that, came back to my room, ate breakfast, waited up here for quite a while, and then went downstairs where I met the second RA, not the first one who invited me to today. And then when he and I met up, the other two came down, and the first RA, she had her friend who is from Colombia, and she's a lot of fun too. She's super, super nice. All three people are phenomenal people. All three students are phenomenal people. I am the youngest of the group, which is ironic in itself, but they're all phenomenal. We first went and walked around some of the shops surrounding the station, the bus station, the train station in Osaka, here in Hirakata City. There's a great bookstore that has like 4 levels that has books and food at the bottom. There's 2 Starbuckses, plural of Starbucks, and we didn't get anything from there, but they were in there, so that's nice to know, I guess. It also wasn't too far of a walk. It really wasn't that unrealistic. After going through the station was a piece of cake, couple, maybe 140 yen. I did spend a lot on travel. I had more than I thought I would, but like in terms of dollar amount, it really wasn't that bad. I imagine somewhere under $20 for a day's worth of travel between like 7 buses and 3 trains. Yeah, it really wasn't that bad. So we first took a train to Kyoto, which took about 30 minutes to about 30 to 50 minutes. I couldn't remember. I zoned out just talking and just hanging out with them in the car, in the train car. And when we finally got to Kyoto, one of our companions was left behind in a previous station due to a bathroom break. But as we waited for him to come back, we made our way over to a cafe where we had lunch. And it was, I don't remember the title of it, and which I feel bad for because it's going to be a Japanese word that I probably should know, I should be learning. But it was, apparently Kyoto is famous for green tea and matcha tea, which I didn't know. But this little cafe was entirely green. The interior is designed green, the food was presented in green. I had cold soba, which is a Japanese dish where you have cold noodles that are dipped and kind of like dunked into a soup, and that's eaten with wasabi, rice, and green onions, and everything is prepared on the same platter, but you eat the noodles and the green onions and wasabi all together, and then the rice. I guess you can mix whatever you want, but I had it separate. And then I also had a little parfait with the weirdest combination. It was, I'm gonna forget the word. Nung. It's red bean. I don't remember what it's called, but it's red bean. Red bean, some sort of gelatin, a dough ball that tastes like if someone made flour into chewing gum, a nice little cookie on top, and matcha flavored gelatin, like jelly, and what was the last bit of what it was? There was like whipped cream. It was pretty tasty. All of it was delicious, and our last member showed up. He met up with us after we had gotten to the cafe. So while we were there, that was delightful. We messed around in there for a little bit. Not mess around, but we had a powder keg, little tube full of spice and pepper that came with our friend's hot soba, and I put that on wasabi and gave that a shot. So that was interesting to say the least. The roof of my mouth was numb for a solid minute or two. And first of all, I didn't realize, but Japan doesn't let you split checks. So if you're planning on going to Japan and with a lot of friends and you decide to be ingenerous, just know it's going to bite you in the arse because they like to split checks. But I digress. I was able to pay my bit in cash because cash makes me comfortable carrying it around. Feel comfortable carrying around cash. And then as we walked outside, it was pouring. I mean, pouring rain. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was insane how much rain there was. We found our way through from the cafe to it's kind of like an alleyway where we stood and waited for the rain to kind of die down a little. That did not work. At one point, I decided to be funny, and this is when the day went from good to great and also dry to wet, and I stuck my head under a gutter fountain. It was clean water. It was fine, but my head was drenched and shaking like a wet dog, and I've finally been clean for the first time all day. But from that point on, I did not use an umbrella. So my shirt I was just drenched. I was wearing jeans and a black shirt, and I was just absolutely soaking wet. The whole day it was wet between the humidity, which was unreasonable at some points, the humidity, and the just water content. But so after we decided to brave the rain and move with no longer an umbrella, we found our first shrine of the day, which was, again, don't remember the name, but it had um, beautiful red arches, not the arch one that you're probably thinking of, but it had just it was amazing. I will post. I have an Instagram now. Surprise, surprise, because I fold to peer pressure allegedly. So I will be putting a lot of pictures on that, which I will link, I suppose, to this video and see how that turns out. Um, and this was the one with there were two large statues guarding the top of it. These weren't. I'm not sure they were foxes. Um, I don't remember which ones they were, but they weren't foxes. I have pictures of them. It'll be fine. You can see how professionally I'm approaching this series. The whole layout was just gorgeous. We walked up and around, and there was like a small little area behind the initial shrine, and you'd walk towards and it would wind away towards another large building with a huge Buddha statue in it, and it was absolutely massive. It was kind of it had an eerie quiet to it, and you felt like you needed to be quiet in this little archway. It was just a building surrounding this golden Buddha, a little bit of a roof over some concrete next to it, where you would walk through towards the rest of the building, and then you'd pass on through. And that wound its way down that path, kind of wound out and around, and it kind of led back to the beginning, with a bunch of little shrines and kind of small arches and little tents, not tents, but little houses, tent, prayer houses with candles and such well lit around. It was very pretty. And the view was amazing. It's just green and alive underneath that whole temple, and it's beautiful. From there, it began to rain again as we walked down through the road that we walked up on was full of life. It was a huge tourist attraction. There were so many shops, there's so many souvenirs that you could buy, and it was fantastic. They were selling swords, which I was incredibly tempted to buy, so had that going for me. It's a very bustling place, very, very tourist friendly. And as we wound our way back down through that street, it started to pour again, and it was worse. It was much, much worse. From there, we were trying to go to a small little cafe, but it was tiny and we were drenched. At least 2 out of 3 of us were. 2 out of the 4, we gave the umbrellas to the girls, who admittedly brought them along themselves so they wouldn't have to share a tiny little personal umbrella. So the boys in the group were just soaked to the bone. But we're dumb, and it was fun. It wasn't cold rain either. It was actually pleasant. It was a pleasant rain. Just a lot. And we went through 2 different cafes before we found one that we liked. We were told to stay in an alleyway, so the girls would forge ahead and find a decent one. And they found one not too far away. So we were just across the street. And they let us inside, and it was empty. I had a kiwi soda. Very, very new to me. It was basically kiwi mixed with seltzer water or some sort of club soda, because there were some bits that were so sour and some bits that were so sweet, and I'm pretty sure the sweet bits were me drinking just kiwi. So, but it was fun. After that, we went to a color temple, the Temple of Color, which is kind of like little stress balls that have characters written on them, which is super cool, and they're hung and they're put in little cages. It's pretty cool looking, actually. But from there, it was a not very large temple. We had some weird looks, not looks, but there were some people that laughed at me when water from the roof fell directly onto my head. So that was always nice to bring a chuckle, I suppose. Um, I just used chuckle in a sentence. That's I am old. um, from there, we got on a bus to go to the Kyoto station, the Grand Kyoto station, where we met up with the original her best friend, which was super nice. It was super cool to meet someone else who was not an RA, like a genuine student. And she lives in an apartment close by. I believe that's what I know. Um, and with her in tow, we went to the more famous and well-known shrine in Japan with the red arches, and it's like just lines and lines of arches. And again, I have loads of pictures of those. And that took a long time. Like that is deceivingly long. Those arches not only wind their way up to a large path, through a large path, but also it splits off a little bit, reemerges, and then turns into a entire mountain hike, which we didn't know. So we have one of the poor girl from Colombia. Again, should I name names? I really feel like I should. I feel like that's taboo, but I don't know. I doubt anyone will ever see these, so maybe it's okay. But my RA, not RA, not my RA, original RA, her friend, and the Colombian girl are all wearing dresses in the rain, hiking. So the Colombian girls who were credit, the other two girls didn't make it out the whole way. We had to leave them behind because they were wearing heels as well. So we sacrificed two of our members for the sake of time, and we climbed our way up the mountain, which took about 40 minutes. It was a good hike. From where we left them, it took about an hour to climb all the way up and around, and then another bit of an hour to come back to where we had left them. Which we didn't find them there, so we went back to the base of the mountain, the beginning of the shrine, which is about 10 minutes away, and then realized that they hadn't left. They were hiding somewhere we didn't know where they were. So we had to wait for them to come back down. But from that, we went to another station of sorts. I don't remember where. I don't remember what it's called. All these Japanese names are escaping me, and I feel like a really bad tourist. But I have pictures. I swear. I promise. And it was a sweet little place. My phone was dying by this point too, because I had taken so many pictures of those arches. The Iwana in Inuma sounds right. The Inuma Temple. I've taken a lot of pictures of that. All different angles of the same color arch in various density of trees and fading natural light. But we had to split up the group again because the tables were so small in the booths. It was a tiny little shop that had savory pancakes, which were actually quite good. It was made with flour and noodles and potatoes and such, and pork in like a little flattened kind of thing. And I added potatoes and an egg to mine, and it was quite delightful. I have no idea what sauce they served it with, but it was good, and it was again very savory, and it doesn't look that hard to make. But if you imagine what a potato pancake looks like, add some flour, make it a little more hearty, I suppose. You have a pretty good idea what it is. Like, I don't know how to pronounce it, and she's gonna yell at me because she told me like 6 times what the word was, but it's fine. After that, we finally started to make our way back from Kyoto, and we escaped all the way back to the station right before Hiragata City. So we would pick up groceries for tomorrow, and some of us would have breakfast. And from there, we just walked straight home. And we parted ways with the best friend, who lives in an apartment, and then the 4 global UE house residents came back here and part ways in the lobby. So yeah, and I am 100% dead on my feet. I haven't moved around in that intensity for a long time, which is kind of a shame. But we got to a point where we were hiking and our legs were shaking just standing still. It was quite the hike, and a lot of stairs. I will never ever complain about the hill ever again, because it can always be worse. But yeah, that was my past 2 days. Tomorrow I plan on hanging out with at least one of them in the morning. We have another fresh batch of students coming in the morning, the largest group to come in over like all the entry days. But 160, 200 students are supposed to arrive tomorrow. So, and it's only been 2 days, and we only have about 300. So, and then Tuesday will be the smallest batch of students, allegedly, and we will begin the orientation schedule, and then classes will start. Yeah. Again, not a very professional kind of approach to this, especially when from me sitting over there at my desk to now me here lounging on my bed, eyes half closed, saying, "Oh, every other sentence." After I just took a shower, brushed my teeth, and I'm staying in my pajamas. So, is YouTuber in my future? Probably not. But this is not a serious thing. This is just for fun. This is just a blog. I'll put it on the internet. Who cares? I care. I do. I shouldn't say that, but I'm sleepy. I'm probably not gonna remember half the stuff I said today. But I do promise that I will post everything on Instagram. So I believe that's it. Of course, there's the souvenirs that I bought, but who knows who those are for. Anyway, that's it for me. I need a catchphrase, so for any of my dear friends that know that this exists decide to submit or suggest a catchphrase, be my guest. By all means, I'll cycle through them and see which one I find the least offensive. But yes, thank you for this is it. This is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for experiencing this with me. This is gonna be one heck of a ride. It's been day 3, and I already feel like I've seen so much, and I know for a fact that I have seen barely any. Not to mention that I haven't even started school yet. So that's my cue to leave. So thank you, arigato, oyasumi, all that good stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow.